Hello, I'm Faith, and welcome to Faith's Take, where I talk about anything and everything that I find interesting. And welcome to my big 2 years on YouTube anniversary Q&A. Back last month, April 16th, was my second anniversary of making videos, and I really wanted to celebrate it. At first, there was a review I'd wanted to do, but I was in the midst of an absolutely terrible semester at school and didn't have the time to do it. So instead I thought I could do a Q&A because those don't take as long to shoot and put together and all that stuff. And I'm sorry that it's even taken this long since I announced it back last month to finally get this done, but I had a lot of bad finals stuff, but I'm in the home stretch now. That semester ended and I'm in my last 8-week semester before I get my bachelor's degree, so I'm very excited about that, finally getting that mess out of the way. But anyway, I had asked for all your questions that you could give me, and if you didn't get a chance to give a question this time, because I put the announcement in the middle of another video, don't worry, because I believe in August I'll be doing a themed Q&A for my big Disney World trip I'll be having this fall. I'll probably do a Disney themed Q&A late in the summer, and I'll announce when that is. So if you didn't get a question in, don't worry, you'll have new opportunities soon. But let's get right into this. Let me get my computer here. So we're gonna start with Kevin Nata, who is one of my wonderful Patreon supporters who sent me a message on Patreon. And he was actually asking me about the video that I put the Q&A announcement in, which was like a venting video. And his first question was, did the venting help? Which I answered through the message, but I will say yes, it did, just to get it all out there and to inform you guys of what had been going on, because I felt so bad about not getting videos out, and especially not getting Patreon videos out. All my Patreon supporters, you guys are so amazing, and you're always like, we don't expect anything, and I'm like, yeah, but you're paying me for something that I already do. I want to make sure you get your exclusive stuff, but you guys were so just generous and awesome, and you guys never pushed me to be like, where's our stuff and all that, so that's amazing. But the venting definitely helped, being able to just inform everyone. And the second question for the Q&A really was, are you a natural night owl? Yes, my entire life I have hated sleep. My parents say, actually, this is not normal, that as a baby, like an infant, like infants, newborns, sleep all the time, like, because they're growing in their sleep and whatever, so, like, they need sleep. Sleep is important. Even in the hospital, newborn, I wouldn't sleep. I was awake all the time. I would exhaust myself to the point of crying, sleep for 20 minutes, and then wake up and do it again. My mom actually has, I've never seen it, or haven't seen it since I was a baby, I'll put it that way, but the nurses in the hospital were so surprised that they had a newborn who was not sleeping. They gave me a little, like, black and white picture of a puppy to look at, so I'd have something other than hospital stuff to see, because I just wouldn't sleep. So literally since birth, I have been a night owl. I will not sleep. My aunt used to have to come over to watch me overnight sometimes, so my parents could sleep because I wouldn't sleep. So yeah, I've been like this forever, and then lately I've been my sleep schedule has been worse than ever, because normally I would stay up till 4 or 5 in the morning doing videos, wake up like between 11 and noon, and then just do it over again, doing videos or studying or whatever. But the last few months I've had to keep pulling all-nighters for school, and then, like, oh, this final's due in just a couple days, I gotta do this, and then I'm sleeping in the middle of the day from, like, 1 to 7 or whatever, and I hate that, and I want to get back to where it's, like, late night through the morning-ish, if not just getting a more normal sleep schedule, but I can't record things till everyone else in the house is asleep, so, you know, it's a very odd situation right now. But yeah, my entire life I don't sleep, so yeah, so it's just hardwired into me, I guess. Next we had 2 questions from Vic. One was on YouTube and one was on Twitter. We'll do the YouTube one first because I don't really have an answer for this. It said, my question is, where can I get the least expensive dubbed flick for my money? Should I be following certain internet sites or anything? Now, the thing is, I don't know anything about dubbed movies, really, where to get them. I'm sure there are a ton of online sites that have really good ones for cheap, maybe even for free, but not that you should do that. But, I'm definitely not the person to come to for this. I'm sorry. I wish I had an answer. But, yeah, I don't know. I know my bad movies through Mr. Science and Riff Tracks. I don't know my bad movies as much, especially not dubbed ones, through this, so I'm sorry. I wish I had an answer. But for the second question, Vic asked, is Mystery Science Theater coming back? I heard on a recent podcast mention it, that it was going to come back, but there weren't any details. Yes, it is. I don't know why we still don't have details. If anyone does, please comment them if you know, because I meant to look this up before this and I forgot. But I have not seen anything. But back on Thanksgiving of just last year, Joel, Jonah, and Felicia for the Turkey Day Marathon on YouTube announced officially the show was coming back with season 12 sometime this year in 2018. It's already May, and I have heard nothing. Granted, we didn't even get a trailer last time until 3 weeks before the season started, but you would think they'd give us not even a release date, but like a release time of year. Like, oh, fall of 2018 or something. Or around Turkey Day this year or something. They didn't. So, I don't know, especially because when they had started shooting it last year, it got, like, shot really fast. All of a sudden, like, when production started, it seemed to go pretty quickly. So I'm surprised that we don't have any details yet. But yes, it is definitely coming back. I'm assuming still this year until we hear otherwise. So it is. The podcast did not lie to you. And Ryan asked, have you ever seen Farscape? It's a sadly pretty unique creation as an adult-oriented, largely serious show where two major characters are puppets, and those characters are perhaps the greatest work the Jim Henson Creature Shop's ever done. My jaw still drops every time I go back and see just how much facial and body language they're capable of. I have heard of Farscape. I have never actually seen it, though. But now I will definitely have to. Like, that is on my list of, like, must-see things now, because I love the Creature Shop, and I love puppetry, and I love the details you can get with that stuff. One of my favorite movies is Little Shop of Horrors, because one of the best things about it is just how amazing the puppetry in it is. So that just sounds fantastic, because I've heard of it several times. Like, I knew of it, but I haven't ever really seen much of it. So Ryan, I do want to thank you. I'm sorry I don't have an answer to the question of, like, oh, I love it or whatever, but I will definitely have to watch it now. So thank you very much for the question, because your description completely sold me on it when I first read that. I was like, oh my gosh, I need to go see this show. So I will definitely have to, especially because this summer I'll be out of school starting in late June, so I'll have plenty of time. Hopefully I'll at least have more time to binge watch things. So I will definitely have to check that out. So thank you, Ryan. And I will let you know when I do see it. I should do a video review about it or something. That would be awesome. So keep an eye out for that, hopefully soon. Next, we had several questions on Twitter from Chandler. First question, do you use Windows or Macs? Mac. My family's been a Mac family for, oh man, well over a decade now, I think. Because for me, it's kind of been a detriment during school, because online school stuff that I've been doing, online classes, always cater more to PCs than Macs. But I don't know, I think, for me, personally, it's more user-friendly. I have seen, like, I've had to use my sister's PCs before, just to, like, send in school assignments sometimes, or just to test some things for school. And I don't know, I'm used to my Mac. I like it. I like the video software that I use a lot. I like even just iMovie, basic stuff I like a lot. I like that it can hook up with my phone, because I have an iPhone, so I like having, them basically being able to talk to each other so easily and things like that. So, I don't know, I personally have always been a Mac person. So, next is, what's your favorite video game? This is really hard. I'm not a huge gamer. I do some, like, little, like, puzzle games on my phone and stuff, but when it comes to actual, like, console video games, I'm a huge Mario fan, a big Nintendo fan, just because that's, like, lowest barrier for entry, just fun little games. I used to play my Game Boy Color all the time. I would play the old Mario games and stuff, and then I always really liked playing Mario Kart and Super Smash Brothers with my family. I love playing Sonic on Super Smash Brothers, and I got really good at his moves, so that way even when you're on one of the hardest stages, I could beat everyone, because they would keep falling, like, on the floating stages and stuff like that. I was able to use his, like, jumping and his, like, spinning moves without falling off, which, like, no one else would be able to. So I like the Mario Kart, Super Smash Brothers, fun stuff like that. Oh, or even, like, here's my thing. When you're playing with other people, almost any game can be super fun. because I've heard a lot of people be like, Wii Sports and all the Wii Sports games are bad and boring and stuff, but my family always has a blast playing those because we'll get so competitive with each other. So I just really like the fun Nintendo family-friendly type of games. But I have gotten really into watching Let's Plays recently from GT Live. That's Game Theory, the Game Theory guy, for those of you who know that series. His name's Matthew. He and his wife Stephanie will do these playthroughs of games, and they're like the cutest, dorkiest couple you've ever seen. They're like so funny and so sweet, and so I really like them, so I like watching them play games, and watching them play horror games is hilarious because they're so jumpy, and then that means I don't have to play them, but I can still like appreciate the stories and stuff. Like, when it comes to story-heavy games, like Until Dawn and Life is Strange, I really like watching them play it, but it's not stuff that I would, like, go out and play myself. So if it's the fun, family, easy-to-play, awesome games like that, I love playing those with my family. And then if it's, like, the hardcore, like, really story-heavy, playthrough-type games, I love watching the GT Live guys play that. Next question, have you been to any other countries? No, I have not. I would love to go to Japan and Italy, because Japan has just always fascinated me. I have always loved Asian cultures. I don't know why. Like, I've just always, since I was little, always loved reading about those in history. Always found it more interesting than any other type of history, including American history. My dad and I have always wanted to go to Osaka, Japan, and just, like, eat the different types of foods and stuff like that, because we're the most adventurous eaters in our family, and just see the place. Like, anytime you see it on like a travel show or something, it is so cool and it's so pretty, and I think that would be really fun. And then Italy, I am about half Sicilian, to be specific, and I think it'd be really cool to see Italy. I think it just seems like a really nice, beautiful country to go to. I've seen, again, a lot of, my family likes travel shows and stuff sometimes, we've seen a lot of cool, just like towns and villages that would be really neat to go see and to explore and see the Italian countryside and stuff. So I haven't been to another country yet, but Japan and Italy are easily my top two choices. Next, Chandler asks, which foreign languages have you studied? A little bit of French and a little bit of Japanese, all on my own. I never had to do it for school or anything. But at first, I had an app for just learning different languages, and I started with French, and then Japanese opened up. I hated the way it did it on that app, but I got a different app instead, because like I said, I've always wanted to go to Japan, so I know like about 400 to 500 words in Japanese, something like that, and I definitely want to get back into it, because it's been a few weeks. Because of school, I had to, this last semester, I didn't really have any time to study it, but I've been doing like a self-study through just apps and fun little games, to learn it, but I would love to become fluent in Japanese. And then French I just thought sounded interesting. I'd like to pick that back up eventually too, but Japanese first, and then Italian would also be really cool. Next from Chandler is, are you going to make any riffs someday? I really want to one day. I need to find something that's the perfect riffing fodder for me, because I would probably end up doing it on my own, and like I said, Mike did a lot of the first riffs on his own, and does a fantastic job. But, like, I'm just so weird, because it's me. I'm like, oh my gosh, what if it sucks, and everybody hates it, and they hate me, and they know how unfunny I really am? And so, I want to find something where I'm like, oh my goodness, that is perfect, I want to riff that. Because if I don't have something that's, like, that seems like it was just, like, perfect fodder for me personally, I don't want it to suck. Because that's what I'm super nervous about, is that it's gonna just be the worst thing ever, and I'd rather it not be the worst thing ever, and that you guys actually enjoy it, and that I have fun making it. And so one day I definitely want to, but I'm not sure when at this point. I need to find something really good. And then lastly, did it hurt when you fell from heaven? Smiley face emoji. Thank you, but I'm not, as far as I know, from heaven, unless I have amnesia or something, because then who knows. But thank you for the compliment very much. But I fall a lot. I'm very clumsy, so I just fall all the time. And next is Jackie on Twitter, and she says, if you could pick 3 movies to be riffed that have never been done before, and nothing from a franchise that has had movies done, except Ant-Man, you can pick Ant-Man, what would they be? Ant-Man would be a great one. I love that movie. I've seen it so many times. But it can't be the franchise they've done. So no, they've done all of Star Wars, so that wouldn't count anyway. But they've done Marvel, they've already done DC, because otherwise I'd be like Justice League, but they've already done Batman vs. Superman. 3 movies to be riffed that have never been done before and not from a franchise I've done, except Ant-Man, which, like, of course I would pick Ant-Man, but let's even take Ant-Man out of it, and I'll give you 3 non-franchise done movies then, because Ant-Man's like a given, you know? Let's see. This is a difficult question for me, because there's a lot of movies I like that I would like to see riffed, and a lot of movies I don't like that I would like to see riffed too. For movies I don't like, Inside Out, just to make it funny, because just if I'm gonna pick, like, an animated movie or, like, a comedic movie, I would pick Ant-Man, or not Ant-Man, I'm sorry, Inside Out, because it's just very, very, like, I guess, no, I'm sorry, a couple of my movies would be Pixar, but I'm gonna start with Inside Out, because, you know, I have a whole video about why I dislike it, and why I think that it's, you know, mostly manipulative, and it doesn't work as a film, just as a whole. You know, you had leads that aren't interesting, and you left the most interesting characters behind, and all these bad things about it. If you haven't seen the video, it's literally titled Why I Hate Inside Out. It's called Unpopular Opinions, though, is the series, because I know a lot of people love that movie, and I'm not trying to offend people that like it or anything, but it's never been my thing. No one in my family likes it, though, which is why we were so surprised when it did so well, like, critically. And we've disagreed with critics before. I'm not saying you can't, or disagreed with fans before, you know, but it was just a surprise how popular it was for us, because none of us really liked it. But the other one, another Pixar movie I would love for them to do, because it is the most boring experience, one of the most boring experiences I've ever had in a cinema, is Ratatouille. Was one of the worst Pixar movies. Now, I haven't seen it since it came out like 10 years ago, if not more by now, oh my goodness, but I haven't seen it in like a decade. But I just remember being, you know, if I'm 23 now, I would have been about 13 back then, and thinking, oh man, new Pixar movie, I'm so excited, the animation looks so good, and the only good thing about it is the animation. It is so boring. And the thing is, a lot of people say, oh, it's more adult, but my parents hated it too. It was just like, none of us liked it, and normally we like Pixar movies. We like we like the, you know, the first 2 Toy Stories, we like Cars, even, we like Monsters Inc., Finding Nemo, Incredibles, all these good movies, but Inside Out, none of us liked. Ratatouille is just one of the most boring movie experiences we ever had. Just absolutely did not like it at all. It's not funny, it's not heartwarming, it just exists, pretty much. And then, speaking of boring, another one that just came to my mind would be the 2014 Godzilla movie, if you don't count that as, like, the Godzilla franchise. It's not a direct sequel or anything, so I'm gonna say it counts. I hope that's not cheating. But I would say that the 2014 Godzilla, because we went thinking, oh, this looks like it could be really cool. It was me and my parents and one of my sisters who was like, she's like super into monsters and monster movies and stuff. She loves that stuff. And so we went to see it, and it was super boring. It was just so bad. What was fascinating was that the director is clearly a good director, though, because even though he sucked at that movie, he then went on to do Rogue One, which is a fantastic movie, and so he clearly has talent. But I don't know if it was the script or if it was studio meddling or what it was, but that movie had such potential. It's like mind-numbing at times. It is mind-numbing at times. Thankfully, I was working at a movie theater at the time, so we got in for free, so that was nice. Because that is also, but man, that and Ratatouille are 2 of the most boring theater-going experiences of my life. So I would like them to pep up boring movies a lot. And like I said, Inside Out is just, like, is super irritating to me. So I'd like to see them make that actually funny, because so, but those are the 3 that I would have to go for, and of course Ant-Man would be awesome. I mean, I would just like it if they finished all the Marvel ones, because they did almost all of Phase 1, and then, like, none after, which is weird. I don't think I'm missing one, because they did Iron Man, skipped both Hulk and Iron Man 2, which was odd, Thor, Cap, and Avengers, and then I don't think they've done one since then. So them doing any other Marvel movie, I'd be super excited about, because I love when they riff movies I like, so that I think would be really good. But that's what I would have to say about all those. And finally, we have Ross's question, which actually, I really love this question. I think it's really cool. Especially because, Ross, you start off saying, I really got nothing this time, but I think you have one of the, like, such a great question. Say, I guess favorite scene from a movie of all time. Example, mine is the entire Endor space battle from Return of the Jedi. That's a really fun one. That's a really good choice. One that first came to mind is the third act, basically, but I can specify, of It's a Wonderful Life. That is my absolute favorite movie of all time because it involves one of the most fascinating things in life to me is how one decision really does affect your whole life and the life of those around you, even if you don't mean for it to. Even the smallest things can have huge impacts and huge effects. And so the movie, I love how it shows that everyone is important. And that's why I love time travel and alternate dimensions, because it's like you change this one little thing and look what could happen. But my favorite scene of the whole thing is one of the absolute saddest, but it's when they go to the graveyard and see that his brother died as a kid, and Clarence tells him, all the people that your brother saved in war died because you weren't there to save him. And it's like, geez, like all these hundreds of people that died and the thousands of people that would have been affected by those deaths, their families and friends, all those lives changed because he as a kid wasn't there to save his brother. And that is just like mind-blowing to me. But that's how life is. Like, you really do affect so much, even if it doesn't feel like it. And that is one of my absolute all-time favorites in anything. So that's probably what it is, but I will give a couple more just because, first of all, the video looks like it's going to be a little shorter than I would have liked. Like I said, didn't get a ton of questions this time, and there were a couple that I didn't really have answers to, unfortunately, having not seen Farscape and not knowing where to find movies and stuff like that. But this is a fantastic question, so I want to give it a little bit more time, if that's all right with you guys. So that's probably my number one. But outside of that, I'll give at least a couple more. For more recent movies, you guys know I love the Marvel movies, and I love the Guardians of the Galaxy. They are some of my absolute favorites. If you had me say like what's like your favorite team out of all the ones coming out, it's easily Guardians. And in Guardians Volume 2, the scene where Rocket, Groot, and Yondu are breaking out and they're just like getting through all those guys that had them trapped, and you have Yondu's arrow just flying around and Groot chasing people. It's like, that scene is amazing. And then no spoilers here, no spoilers at all, but in Infinity War, Thor, Rocket, and Groot there's like 6 or 7 storylines that all interconnect in Infinity War. And I think Thor, Rocket, and Groot is the absolute best. Like, that has got to be my favorite because you get the action, you get the emotion, you get the development, and you get the comedy all perfectly done, I think, with those guys. I think that Thor and Rocket, I think, individually are 2 of the most developed characters in the entire MCU. So those would have to be mine, I would say, for the Marvel movies at this point. Those are some of the best ones. And then, of course, if I did Muppets, there's like so many. They'd almost all be songs too. So, and let me see. I'm gonna stick so true to who I am because I did It's a Wonderful Life as like my actual favorite, and then I was like, here are a couple of my Marvel favorites, and here's one of my Muppet favorites, and it would be One More Sleep Till Christmas from Muppet Christmas Carol. Muppet Christmas Carol is just is up there. It is my second favorite movie to It's a Wonderful Life, and they are like extraordinarily close, and they are easily my favorites compared to everything else. And I love movies, and you guys know this, I love so many movies, but those have got to be my favorites. And it's One More Sleep Till Christmas is just like the perfect embodiment of what it feels like through not just Christmas Eve, but like all of December, from like Thanksgiving to Christmas. It's just that feeling of Christmas. Paul Williams wrote the music and wrote all the songs for Muppet Christmas Carol, and he knows the Muppets so well because he did that movie, and he also did the Muppet movie. He also did Emma Otter's Jug Band Christmas, and all of them are fantastic. He does such a good job with everything he does for them, and so I would have to say that those are probably my favorite. That's probably my favorite Muppet moment and just favorite Christmas moment and just one of my other favorite movie moments ever. So we have It's a Wonderful Life, the whole third act, but especially the graveyard scene, the scenes basically when Rocket and Groot team up with anybody, but Rocket and Groot with Yondu and Guardians 2, and especially the Thor, Rocket, and Groot storyline in Infinity War, and the One More Sleep Till Christmas from Muppet Christmas Carol. So Roz, even though you didn't think you had a good question or not much to ask like that, I loved that question. That was really fun for me. So, but all these questions were really fun. So thank you to everyone for asking questions, for watching this video. Like I said, if you didn't get a question in, I will be doing a Disney-themed Q&A late this summer. I'll have a video for when that is, and that's not just going to be Disney, it's going to be Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, Muppets, anything under the Disney umbrella I will count, Disney parks. So just like, you have like 3 or 4 months to think about those questions if you're interested. So thank you all so much for watching. Thank you guys for now a little over 2, just fantastic, awesome years here on YouTube. I am so much more confident in myself. I am so much more experienced. I have so many internet friends, and it's all because you guys actually enjoy this stuff and like to watch it, you know? So, thank you guys so much for supporting me and for just being there and enjoying my stuff, and I hope to give you guys so much more going forward. So thanks again, and I'll see you guys later.